How's it going, everyone? Marriland here. You're watching video number 1000. That's right, number 1000. A number. A video. Magic. It's no doubt a big accomplishment to have so many videos uploaded at any given time. Most people don't even come close to that number, and I find it hard to believe that I've surpassed it. However, one important point I need to stress. While this may appear to be video number 1000, I know better. I know I've passed that milestone long ago, as I've done so many videos in the past that I didn't bother to re-upload or videos that I never quite finished. In fact, according to my count behind the scenes, I actually have 1014 videos uploaded before this one is counted. There have been several unlisted videos I've uploaded here and there, usually behind an annotation or something. A lot of people really get wrapped up in numbers and treat it as like a sign of success or something. Hey, that's great. I'm thrilled to know that I managed to upload over 1,000 videos too. But I also know that to me, it's just a number. I mean, just like the milestone of 300,000 subscribers in December is just a number. I know it sounds silly, but I'd probably be just as happy with 100,000 subscribers as I am with 300,000. I'd probably be just as happy with 1,000. To me, the videos I do and the content I create isn't about gaining subscribers, getting views, and making them YouTube dollars. It's about helping and entertaining people. I like to do that. That's what drives me. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm so grateful to have far over 300,000 Marylanders enjoying over 1,000 of my videos. Absolutely. And I still always create my videos with you, the viewers, in mind. I have since the very beginning. Well, almost the very beginning.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3 and we go?
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Yay! Good job! Jeez, guys!
Complicated. Yep, the cup game is where it all started. It was the very first video that I uploaded to YouTube, all the way back in 2006, before YouTube was even acquired by Google. I was just barely 19 at the time and had no skills with video editing. My website, Marriland.com, was a small, humble fan site getting about 1,500 to 2,200 visits a day, which I was thrilled with. In early 2007, after uploading a few other miscellaneous videos, such as A Day at TIY and Dark Ruler Keny, I began uploading a few videos using my Japanese version of Pokémon Pearl, showing the fight against Cynthia, how to get all of the Eeveelutions, a video about the PAL Park, and even a fight against Giratina. Most of these videos didn't even feature commentary. Back then, I hated my voice. I was so shy about it, and I couldn't stand how nerdy it sounded. It's hard to believe, huh? Of course, it still sounds nerdy today, but I'm at least not ashamed of it like I was back then. The Eeveelution special was actually entirely scripted. I wrote out everything, and it took multiple takes to get everything correct. Having no experience with what was involved in making a video like that, I wanted to do whatever it took to make it right. Plus, this was the day before Let's Playing was really a thing on YouTube, so there weren't a lot of examples out there.
With the release of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, I plan on recording a series of videos showing my experiences in Pokemon Diamond. This first video will show you the very beginning of the game, and the very start of my adventure. Enjoy!
In April 2007, I began recording the very first video series of mine, Marriland's Pokemon Diamond Adventure. It was intended to go along with my very successful walkthrough for my website, which, between that and the Pokedex, launched Marriland.com into orbit that April, fetching more than 40,000 visitors and hundreds of thousands of page views on a daily basis. The video series was recorded using a standard definition camera. I had to play the game in a dark room, keeping the DS flat on the table while tilting the screen towards the camera. I couldn't even use my thumbs while playing, and it was really hard to see. Back then, post-commentary was the norm and made for higher quality video. I recorded the video portion and then, using Windows Movie Maker, added my commentary during the editing phase, commentating while I watched what I just recorded. I did not consider myself a Let's Player in that regard, but rather someone who wanted to do a video walkthrough, so capturing my experience was less important to me than providing a solid guide to get through the game. Shortly after that series began, I recorded one of the most infamous videos I've ever done, Marriland vs. Untouchable. It started when someone came into the Marriland forums and boasted about how they were unbeatable, acting rather rude and dismissive about it, activity that would probably get you warned or even banned today. So I said I would challenge him, which gathered a lot of support from the audience of the Marriland forums. The topic escalated to over 30 pages. I transferred over some of my EV-trained Pokemon from Emerald and used my Garchomp for my Japanese Pearl version. I also had read about a neat tactic called Fear on the GameFAQs message board, which stood for Flippin' Evil Annoying Rodent, but also for Focus Sash, Endeavor, Quick Attack, and Rattata, as that was the combo. A lot of people have incorrectly assumed I created this technique. I did not. I was just one of the first to showcase it to many people. Anyway, while I may have used several bulky, overpowered Pokemon, and mind you, neither Garchomp nor Salamence were Uber at that point in time, I had a suspicion that he was going to use Uber legendaries and the like. I was right, since he used Pokemon like Mew, Darkrai, and Arceus. The latter two were only available through cheating. That was my first competitive battle in the 4th generation game, so naturally there were some moves I could have done differently, but hey, everyone starts somewhere, right? And ultimately, I won the fight with the glorious Fear combo I'd hoped to employ, which spread like a wildfire across the internet and vaulted my subscription count to over 1,000 subscribers within a short amount of time. Naturally, everyone wanted to challenge me afterwards, which was intimidating for me, because I knew I wasn't that fantastic of a battler and had close to no practice. I decided to accept their challenges anyway and record them. To my surprise, I actually did quite well in these fights. I felt bad about them though, as I'm not an overly competitive person by nature, and I felt conflicted, since I didn't want to be known for battling, but for helping people out. I also knew that there were so many better battlers out there that actually knew what they were doing, so I always felt to them that I was just some kind of fake show-off who was wrongly viewed by lots of people as thinking he's the best, when, in reality, it was the total opposite. As a result, I lost my passion for battling, and resumed focus on my video series. I also reached 10,000 subscribers that summer, and made a special video celebrating it. 10,000 was a lot back then.
Wow, Pokemon Platinum, that's right, the 3rd game in the series. So, what's new with Pokemon Platinum? This video and the following videos are going to show you what's up.
I covered Pokemon Platinum in Japanese when it came out, rushing through the game mostly just to cover the changes, using an Empoleon that had been leveled up to level 100 in another version.
Alright, other than, the opening scene sort of changing a bit, Rowan now has a Baneri, etc., etc., this TV scene now changes, and they're talking about Professor Rowan. He's on TV. Let's ask Professor Rowan. Brought to you by Jubilife TV. See you next week, same time, same channel.
When Platinum came out in the US, I rushed through the game, uploading over 60 gigabytes worth of videos over the span of a week. Unfortunately, despite recording the raw footage for most of the post-game stuff, I never got around to adding post-commentary to it. That's not something I'll be picking up now, though. Sorry. It's too weird going back to doing post-commentary nowadays. Anyway.
At the very height of the Pokemon craze, back in 1998 and 1999, they made a whole bunch of Pokemon games and figures and stuff back then. It was a full-blown craze. One of the games that came out was Pokemon Yellow, and that was for the Game Boy Color, Game Boy, Super Game Boy, any of those systems. I'm playing it on a Game Boy Player right now, but it featured Pikachu, the ever-loving mascot of Pokemon, essentially. And you basically got to play the game like Red and Blue, except you used a Pikachu rather than Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle as your starter.
In April of 2009, for April Fool's Day, I started up a new video series called Marriland's Pokémon Yellow Adventure as a joke, figuring the people would not be interested in seeing such an old game. I used my video capture card in my computer to record the video signal from the Game Boy player hooked up to my GameCube, which was what I played Pokémon Yellow on. The video was a total hit, and people loved it, so I continued it on a weekly basis, releasing a new episode every Tuesday, as I called it. The series went on until the US release of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, when I had to shift my focus on covering Soul Silver. I stopped Yellow at part 37, the infamous Purified Protected Zone episode. My first venture into streaming was actually way back in 2010, when I streamed my entire Johto playthrough of Soul Silver. It was quite a hit, though it was too tough trying to balance that along with uploading videos. On top of that, I had an exclusivity deal with another gaming network, so I couldn't even post my new Soul Silver videos to YouTube until after a week had passed. That was very confusing and demoralizing for me. So I didn't get too far into the series before ultimately pulling the plug on it, only to give another brief stab at it in 2011, though I just didn't get into the series enough to continue it past Price. Speaking of 2011, that's when a lot of things changed, but let me start with the preface here. In the summer of 2010, there was a problem with false DMCA claims being made. DMCA stands for Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which is basically a law that covers copyright and stuff. It's what companies can use to take down illegal videos and stuff. I mean, I'm no lawyer, but that's more or less what the law covers in a nutshell. The problem is, on YouTube, there were a few people that were illegally filing these, stating under penalty of perjury that they were the copyright owners of all of a YouTuber's videos, forcing YouTube to take the video down and issue a strike. This system was so broken that in order to fight back against these claims, you had to state, also under penalty of perjury, that you owned or had the rights to 100% of the works in the video, and you had to provide the party making the claim with your personal information, such as full name, address, and phone number. The people that made these false claims just used that information to make more false claims. So you couldn't even fight any claims. It was utterly stupid. So many big YouTubers, such as Chugga Conroy and Nintendo Capri-Sun, have been targeted and racked up strike after strike. This was also back in a day where it was questionable whether or not you could even upload gameplay videos on YouTube. I read through the terms of service and knowledge base numerous times, but it was always unclear. During this time, I decided to stay low. I didn't want to attract any undue attention, so I figured, hey, I'll just work on my site in the meanwhile. I wasn't too excited about resuming Soul Silver or Yellow anyway, and it was almost unbearable trying to keep up with over 125,000 subscribers, a huge amount back then. Besides, Pokémon Black and White were right around the corner, so I had a lot of work to do. In January 2011, though, after laying low for over half a year, I finally was targeted. I woke to an email saying I'd received a copyright strike on some random video of mine. The DMCA notice was from Paul, and that was about all it said. It was not from Nintendo, and it contained no indication of what in the video triggered the takedown. It contained no audio or video aside from my own commentary and the audio and video of the game. Yeah, I was being targeted by the false DMCA attacks. At least, that's what it looked like. Maybe it was just a mistake. One strike surely wouldn't be the end of me. Yeah, well, the very next day, I received another strike by Petter on another completely random video. 2 strikes in 2 days. One more strike, and my account would be banned for good. So rather than fight and become a victim of identity theft or lose my account, I took the bold decision to remove each and every video I had ever uploaded to YouTube. All of them. In an instant, all of the videos I uploaded, the videos that were viewed a total of around 90 million times were all gone. I couldn't upload a video explaining the situation because if that video got a strike, I would lose my account. There was literally nothing I could do but pull the plug and plea with YouTube. After numerous emails sent to YouTube, I never received a personalized response. They ignored me and ignored the terrible situation.
Hello, trainers. My name's Marriland, and I'm here to help guide you through the adventures of Pokemon Black and White. This is my playthrough of Pokemon White, in which I'll be giving you information, commentary, tips, tricks, and hopefully a whole bunch of laughs along the way to help guide you through either Pokemon Black or White.
Rather than give up entirely, I found a new video host, Blip.tv, and after carefully reading through the terms, it sounded as though it would be permissible at the time to upload gameplay video so long as there was constant commentary, which was the case for me. Rather than try to establish a base over there, though, I simply used it to embed videos over on my website, Marriland.com, and then created a video hub for people to watch all of my videos. I started by doing videos just for Pokemon White, but eventually re-uploaded all of the old videos to Blip and embedded them on my website for people to watch. It's unfortunate that so many people didn't know this. I received so many disappointed emails from people thinking that I had quit YouTube. While it was true that I did, in a sense, quit YouTube, it was because they essentially made me quit. I didn't quit making videos, though. I just lost the ability to let people know about it. Anyway, though I received a very small number of views compared to the standard of hundreds of thousands I was used to, I actually felt great about it. I felt like I was making videos because I wanted to, rather than because people wanted me to. So, as a result, the videos showed my enthusiasm. I also resumed my Yellow and Soul Silver series over on my website, posting one of each on a weekly basis. In 2012, though, I was approached by Curse, who was interested in bringing my website, Marriland.com, into the Curse family of sites. In a nutshell, they wanted to buy my site and hire me to run it. That was a great feeling, knowing that the website I had created when I was 13 led me to not just a job, but a solid career in the gaming industry. In case you aren't familiar with Curse, they are a big network of gaming sites covering a variety of games. If you've played League of Legends or World of Warcraft, you've probably heard of Curse. If you've ever visited the Minecraft wiki or Minecraft forum, congrats! You've visited a cousin of mine, as they're part of the Curse family as well. It was a very difficult decision to make, turning over my site, as I had total control over it for the previous 12 years. Marriland.com predated Curse. Heck, for that matter, Marriland.com predated YouTube, Facebook, and even Gmail. But, to be honest, I always felt worried that Nintendo or the Pokemon Company would one day shut me down for running a fan site technically without their permission. Realistically, they probably wouldn't do that, but they could. And since the traffic levels I'd received turned managing my site into a full-time job, the fear of getting fired, so to speak, was a real one. Ultimately, I decided to go with it, since it would clear up any worry in my mind about Nintendo coming after me or about dealing with server issues and programming and stuff. It felt like it was a step to a more sustainable Marriland, even if it meant big changes. One nice change, though, was getting my YouTube channel back and better than ever. Not only did they quickly get the unfair strikes cleared from my account, chuckling over the stupidity of the situation in the first place, they also granted me a partnership on YouTube, meaning at long last my videos could be monetized and I'd be a partner. Yes, it's true. I'm a partner on YouTube. I now make YouTube monies off of my videos, legally. I have the right and permission to monetize my videos, which is pretty cool. It's not why I do videos, but it's nice to know that the time and effort I invest into each of my videos comes back to me in a way other than just knowing I'm helping people.
Okay, you are indeed seeing this correctly. Do not adjust your television set. People, This is indeed a Minecraft video by Marriland, because it seems like everyone in the world makes a Minecraft video at some point.
Since Curse is big into Minecraft, I decided it would be a fun idea to start a video series for Minecraft as well. I'll be honest, I've had Minecraft since it was in alpha, and have played it regularly since 1.4 beta. There was already a sea of Minecraft videos back then. Not that there are now, but I figured that rather than do a standard Let's Play of it, I'd do a hardcore survival island. It was also an opportunity for me to try out Adobe Premiere Pro for my video editing software, which was radically different than the Sony Vegas Platinum I was used to. It took me forever to get the hang of Premiere. Seriously, if Sony Vegas had support for my video card back then, I probably would have kept using that instead. Anyway, over the summer of 2012, while working with the designers and developers on getting the redesign of the Marriland website going, I re-uploaded nearly all of my old video series to YouTube, since I finally had control of my account again thanks to the strikes being cleared. There were a few videos and series that I never re-uploaded, and, sadly, likely will never re-upload. Various battles on Pokémon Pearl that used copyrighted music, any of my Japanese video series such as Platinum and Soul Silver, the Arceus video, the Eeveelutions video, and Care Woes. Oh, snap.
Hey! What's Lucario doing to Gardevoir?
Alright, we are going to play some Pokémon Conquest. Yeah, that's right. It is a game where you are warlords, and you are battling other warlords with your own Pokémon.
I started two new series that summer, Pokémon Conquest and Pokémon Black 2 Japanese. These are the last two video series that I recorded using my HD camcorder, although they were also the first two that I did live commentary on. They were both particularly challenging to record, as I had a crazy audio setup, and, in the case of Conquest, I had an incredible amount of post-production involved in order to record both screens. Since Conquest was released just a few days before Pokémon Black and White 2 were in Japan, I knew I wouldn't be able to dedicate ample time to it. I knew it would likely be an unfinished series, and since there was even more work involved in it than I thought, I regrettably never finished the series. I'm sorry about that. My Conquest series is scrapped entirely. Part of the reasoning behind that has to do with how my recording process has changed. I finally managed to get my hands on something I'd been waiting for years. The DS Capture. What is a DS Capture? It's a modified DS that has USB video capture, allowing me to capture both screens directly onto my computer and then record them using fracs. Here's a look at mine. It's a little beat up, but it still works like a champ, and does a fantastic job at capturing both DS and Game Boy Advance games. It was about $150 for a pre-modded one when I got mine. You could buy the parts to mod it yourself, but I felt more comfortable in just having it pre-installed.
Hey, look at that! Hi there! Welcome to the world of Pokemon! My name is Professor Juniper. Everyone calls me the Pokemon Professor. Oh, they still call you that, huh? Oh my goodness! You evolved your Minccino. It's a little fluffy scarf rat thing.
That DS Capture was what allowed me to record my Pokémon White 2 video series in amazing quality compared to the days of my old camera setup. Not only that, but I didn't have to play hunched over my DS in a dark room. No, I could actually relax, play casually, and hold my DS naturally! It was actually fun to record now, thanks to the ability to record directly to the PC. Words can't even explain how much that one investment expanded my video producing career, because I wouldn't have taken on other video series without that, period. It's no fun recording in a stuffy room, in the dark, just to get decent quality videos. Thanks to that, I was able to record and upload 81 videos for Pokémon White 2 within just a few days, and surpass 130 by the end of the year. It was a very successful series of mine, and despite how little sleep I got while doing it, I had a lot of fun with it. Seeing how incredible the DS Capture was, I decided to invest in a pre-modded 3DS Capture, which unfortunately was quite a bit more expensive, costing over $350 total. but figuring the next generation of Pokemon games were right around the corner, of course, keep in mind this was before the Pokemon X and Y announcement, I decided it would be smart to get it in advance. It's expensive, yeah, but it's worth it if you're looking to record high-quality videos from the 3DS. And, since both my site and YouTube channel required that, it was something I knew I needed to get. You can get both of these at 3dscapture.com, although they're often sold out. I can't officially endorse them or offer support for operating them, but since a lot of people have asked, this is my answer and where I got mine at.
Listen, have you heard about this new big service? What the heck is a big service?
Anyway, as the White 2 series winded down, I decided to start up a new series. Something that people had been asking for a while, but didn't think I would actually do. That's right, the Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke. I'm not going to explain the rules of the Nuzlocke here, as you can watch part 0 of that series for an explanation. But let me just say that the added difficulty and intensity of the Nuzlocke challenge made the series a lot of fun to do. Also, the fact that I was able to play it casually every night and give live commentary while it was going on made it enjoyable, and, just in case I wasn't clear, all of my series since my Minecraft ones in mid-2012 have been live commentary. That series brought epic lines such as "Big Service," but as the series went on, brought Marriland fans together in watching heroes rise and fall. It also inspired so many Marriland fans, or Marrilanders as we've all come to call ourselves, to draw amazing fan art of the characters and moments in the series. It started as a drawing here and there, but after the incredible series wrapped up, there were over 100 drawings drawn by passionate fans of the Emerald Nuzlocke. Some people may not understand how pixels can have character or feelings. Yet, I ask you, how is it that ink on paper, spelling out letters and words, can tell stories? Words don't bring the story to life. Imagination does. And it's that imagination that both I and the hardcore fans of the series had. And that's what made it so enjoyable to watch. You see, prior to the Emerald Nuzlocke, I never really found myself too attached to any of the Pokemon I used in any of my series. Pokemon Yellow would probably be the closest I got, but due to the risk of death in a Nuzlocke and due to the lack of control of who you'll wind up using, it gave me a better appreciation for my team. And when the unthinkable occurred on several occasions, I saw it more as a story rather than just a video game. And I'm so glad that so many of you were able to enjoy the story rather than just the video series. That being said, after the Emerald Nuzlocke, right around Christmas of 2012, I introduced everyone to the Nuzlocke variant I had been testing for nearly a year.
How's it going, everyone? Marriland here, and today I'm going to show you the rules of the Wedlock Challenge. Now, the Wedlock Challenge is basically a variant upon the popular Nuzlocke Challenge.
The Wedlock, a variant where Pokemon are paired up with each other and can only fight beside each other in battle, leading to some epic fights and potentially dire situations. I wasn't sure whether to do the Wedlock on Heart Gold or Black. I did my very first Wedlock ever, mostly to test it out, on my Japanese Black version, and it was a lot of fun, way more fun than I thought it'd be. But I also saw that it could be really fun on Heart Gold. Ultimately, I decided to go with a Heart Gold Wedlock, and while at first people were a little unsure of the series, as the series continued, it had fantastic reception, and most people loved the twists the Wedlock introduced to the tried-and-true Nuzlocke formula. The Heart Gold Wedlock introduced heroes such as Carrot, Peach, Turnip, Cauliflower, Spinach, and countless more. Yes, they were named after fruits and vegetables. I love naming themes for my Nuzlocke or Wedlock series. On top of that, while my own Wedlock was going on, tons of other people felt inspired to attempt one of their own on various games, and the majority really enjoyed it. It's a fun, well thought out variant, and the dynamic of having your Pokemon paired up in battle means you only have 2 Pokemon to use in any given fight, unless they both happen to die, so you really have to employ some clever strategies in order to succeed.
Tusks and Broham, we want you to go to the Great Glacier with us. What? The Marriland are... Going with Umbreon and Espeon?
Through a magna gate and to the Great Glacier, you say?
Were you all eavesdropping? Seriously, you guys?
In March of 2013, despite being sick with a terrible cold, I took on one of the more ambitious video series I'd ever done, Pokémon Mystery Dungeon: Gates to Infinity. Thanks to my 3DS capture, I had the capability to record it, but since the Mystery Dungeon series tends to be very dialogue heavy and story driven, I wasn't sure how engaging of a video series it would be. Rather than simply read the massive amounts of dialogue that appeared on the screen while playing, I tried something totally different and did voice acting for nearly every single character in the game in an attempt to help bring the characters to life and engage people more than just skipping through the dialogue to get to the rather underwhelming gameplay. As I saw it, Gates to Infinity was a story, not just a game. In fact, the gameplay really fell short in comparison to Explorers of Sky. I felt that the story needed to be told, so I told it, telling the tale of Tusks and Broham. The series was actually pretty fun, because I found myself getting into the characters as I played. Also, in case you thought otherwise, the entire video series was done in live commentary. All of that voice acting wasn't recorded after the fact, but rather while I was playing. And if I messed it up, I couldn't just redo it. Yeah, that was pretty intense, but I'm also proud of how it all turned out. In February of 2013, just after the conclusion of the Johto portion of the Heart Gold Wedlock, I received a lot of criticism on YouTube over how many items I used during the battle against Lance. Now, mind you, it wasn't like using Toxic and then spamming potions all day, but I was just trying to get a guillotine to hit, and it missed every single time, so I healed to keep up. It was also the first Heart Gold Wedlock I'd attempted, and there were no item restrictions, barring revives, obviously, so it wasn't breaking any rules or anything. But it still brought me down, though, as it was the first Wedlock I had successfully completed, yet I didn't even get to relish that victory. Instead, I just felt bad about it.
Alright, here it goes now. Alright, on your marks. Whoa! Hold it! What the heck are you doing? You two don't seem to have any Pokemon between you. Then what is the meaning of going into the tall grass?
Oh no, it's the Pokemon police! He was trying to go into the grass, man! To let out my frustration, I started a Nuzlocke on Pokemon Platinum, except added 3 additional rules to it. I disallowed the use of items in battle, aside from held items and Pokeballs. I enforced a level limit, preventing me from raising any of my Pokemon's levels higher than the upcoming gym leader's highest level Pokemon. And I set my battle style to set for the entire game, preventing that helpful instant switch after a trainer's Pokemon is knocked out. Platinum is often voted the most challenging official version to Nuzlocke as is. Adding those additional rules was bold, and I honestly thought I would fail rather early on. But since I wanted to prove to myself that I was pretty okay at Nuzlockes, I played through the game, writing my progress over on the Marriland forums so people could follow the challenge over there rather than watching videos to keep up with it. I decided to record while I was playing, just in case I got past the first or second gym. It wasn't until May of 2013, once the Heart Gold Wedlock and Gates to Infinity series were finished, that I began uploading the Platinum Nuzlocke, as I wasn't even entirely sure I wanted to in the first place. A lot of people recognize the challenge as a very difficult one. I personally felt proud to have done so well in it, having very little deaths compared to other Nuzlocke-style video series I'd done. However, instead of complaining about item usage and all that, people complained about the lack of deaths, scrolling to the end of the video just to see if any of my Pokemon died, and then skipping the video if there wasn't any tragedy. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Throw a fight on purpose? I wasn't over-leveled, I wasn't using items or anything like that. What was I supposed to do? It was discouraging to hear those sorts of comments. The sad thing was, it wasn't just by the usual trolls or people that comment negatively just about every single time. No, it was by people that I recognized and had previously respected. I eventually finished the series with an ending that I felt was the most intense final battle of any series I'd done, hopefully redeeming those complaints. But the damage had already been done, and I had declared the Platinum Nuzlocke would be the last Nuzlocke video series I would do publicly. Really, Despite not having all that many deaths, it was a very challenging Nuzlocke, and there were some incredibly close calls. The Platinum Nuzlocke was the new standard of difficulty I had set, so if I decided to do another Nuzlocker variant, people would just expect something even more difficult, when really, I may just want to do Nuzlocks to tell a story and have fun. There's only so much difficulty that can be added before a challenge isn't fun anymore, and, as is, the difficulty of the Platinum Nuzlocke added a lot of pressure. Anyway, over that summer, something rather incredible happened. What on earth? This looks a little different. What is going on here? How do I get over that wall? Oh, maybe this jetpack. Whoa! Did I just fly over that wall? What are all these blocks? What is going on here? I'd gotten into playing Feed the Beast, a mod pack launcher for Minecraft that included a whole ton of different mods in it. Early on, I used to be very against the thought of modded Minecraft. It seemed like there was so much fun to the game without mods that adding them didn't make any sense. I watched some of King Daddy D-Mac's Hermitcraft Feed the Beast videos after initially shying away from them. I was a much bigger fan of his vanilla Minecraft series at the time, and hearing him talk about tesseracts, routers, and macerators confused the living daylights out of me. Even after watching over a dozen of his videos, I had no clue what was going on, but it excited me to try Feed the Beast, so one weekend I did just that, and I've been hooked ever since. While confusing and overwhelming at first, it was a lot of fun once I got the hang of things, and I actually prefer it to vanilla Minecraft by a long shot now. It was neat watching the videos King Daddy D-Mac did on the Hermitcraft server. His base looked so cool, and the progress he made was fantastic. Now more than 3 weeks into my Feed the Beast addiction though, out of the blue, without any knowledge I was even playing Feed the Beast, King Daddy D-Mac asked if I'd be interested in joining the Hermitcraft server. My jaw literally dropped. It was basically a dream come true, having a chance to join the only Minecraft server I ever had any interest in, but never thought in a million years I'd have a chance to be a part of. Needless to say, I said yes, and introduced my Hermitcraft Feed the Beast video series to the Marriland channel, reviving my Minecraft videos with a new, excited passion. I played quite a lot of the Ultimate Pack, based on Minecraft 1.47. Hermitcraft upgraded to the Unleashed pack in September, though with Pokémon X and Y's release right around the corner, I knew I plain and simple wouldn't have much time to dedicate to that series from the get-go. Unfortunately, I only uploaded 3 parts of that, mostly because I had to focus on my Pokémon coverage. Speaking of which...
How's it going, everyone? Marriland here, and I'm here today to talk about the announcement of the new Pokémon games for the Nintendo 3DS, Pokémon X and Pokémon Y.
That's right, Pokémon X and Y, the 6th generation of Pokémon games. I had made a video covering the announcement of Pokémon X and Y back on the morning it was announced, January 8th, 2013. And that marked the start of my Pokémon X and Y coverage.
Benches! Benches! You can sit on benches!
I don't usually do news update sorts of videos. That's just not the type of person I am. But I did try to do a few update videos covering some of the things revealed for Pokémon X and Y leading up to the release that October. Welcome to the world of Pokémon. I am Augustine Sycamore, the Kalos region's very own Pokémon professor. I also have a Skiddo. Finally, October 12th, 2013, I started my Pokémon X and Y video series on YouTube. It was phenomenal how amazing the game looked and played. I couldn't get over how dynamic the battles were and all that jazz. After months of waiting, the game that the entire Pokémon community was eagerly awaiting. Well, except for those militant Gen 1ers out there, of course. It was at last in my hands. And I played through the game at a rather quick pace, that's for sure. Unlike past releases, Pokémon X and Y were released on the same date worldwide. Well, you know, unless you lived in Canada or something and got your game like almost 2 weeks early. Anyway, This meant I had to balance my time between the video series, the walkthrough on my site, and data collection for the Pokédex. It's actually a lot for one person to do, trust me. Anyway, I know the past month or so has been lacking as far as Marriland videos go. This 1000th video has been an incredible undertaking, and the time I had to work on it was very limited over the past month. I'm sorry for that, but I hope the effort put into this video explaining the history of Marriland was worth it. But enough about the history of Marriland. I think it's time to see what's in store for the future of Marriland, don't you think? That's right. While I had said in the past that I wasn't doing any more Nuzlocks, I realized that, you know what, people watch Nuzlocks for the challenge and reactions. Fans watch Nuzlocke because they enjoy the person doing them. Of course, I would love everyone to enjoy my Nuzlocke, or all of my videos for that matter, but knowing how much my fans love my Nuzlocke videos, it's ultimately them who I should and want to be doing those videos for. There will always be people that complain. That's just how it goes. And I have no intention on making the Black Wedlock any more challenging than the Platinum Nuzlocke. I may add a rule here and there on top of the Wedlock rules to spice it up, such as a level limit, but ultimately, I want to do this series for fun, and I want to do this series because I want to. So, really, if you wind up thinking it's too easy, honestly, I couldn't care less. Because my goal is to have fun with it, to entertain the fans of my Nuzlocke and Wedlock series, who truly get into the series. But I have a feeling it'll be a decent challenge anyway. When does the Black Wedlock start? I'm pleased to announce that I will upload part 1 of the Black Wedlock series on February 22nd, 2014. Get hyped for it, folks, yeah! But it doesn't end there. That is indeed correct! Sometime after the Black Wedlock is concluded, I'll be picking up where the series left off, returning to Unova 2 years in the future, in Marriland's Black 2 Wedlock. I'm not sure exactly when this will start, as it depends on when the Black Wedlock wraps up, but I do at least want to unveil the snazzy logo for it, and let you know that, yes, the Black 2 Wedlock is indeed planned for the future. Of course, with Wonder Trade being one of my favorite things in Pokémon X and Y, I'm absolutely going to have some fun with this one. Yup, the Pokémon Y Wonderlock. What's a Wonderlock, you ask? Well, I'll be playing it essentially like a Nuzlocke, except after catching new Pokémon in routes or areas, they must immediately be Wonder Traded away, and then you treat that new Pokémon as your encounter. They're a lot of fun, and I have a feeling this could make for a wild series as well. Again, I haven't decided when this video series will begin, but it is planned for sometime this year, tentatively after the Black Wedlock series finishes, but before the Black 2 Wedlock starts, whenever that may be. But, Marriland, isn't there any more? You know, like Minecraft? Well, of course there's more, don't worry. In fact, there's a lot more, and let's face it, We all want more Marriland, right? Right? That's why I'm pleased to announce the creation of my second channel, More Marriland, which is exactly that, More Marriland. What exactly is the More Marriland channel for, you ask? It's the home for all Marriland videos that aren't Pokemon videos, such as Minecraft. Who knows? I may even do other games in the future. But for now, that's where you'll find the following 3 series. Indeed, I am a full-fledged hermit, though I have yet to make my debut on the vanilla server due to how busy Pokémon X and Y kept me, both video-wise and website-wise. Now that it's starting to wind down, I'm looking forward to taking a stab at the vanilla Hermitcraft server for Minecraft and having some fun with the fellow hermits there. Of course, I'll always have a hunger for Feed the Beast, so I'm going to start up Season 3 of Marriland's Hermitcraft Feed the Beast adventure, this time on the Monster mod pack, which is based off of Minecraft 1.6.4. Who knows what kind of crazy contraptions I'll build on one of the newest Feed the Beast packs, but I'm looking forward to getting things going on the server and having some fun along the way. Last but not least, your pleas have been heard. Twice at that. Not only am I finally reviving the Marriland and Bro series, we're tackling the unison of Pokemon and Minecraft in a mod called Pixelmon, where you can catch and train Pokemon in the Minecraft world. It should be a lot of fun, and we may even run into a few fellow trainers along our adventures. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video, as well as the 999, or however many, that came before it. If you've been a Marriland fan for a long time, this video should serve as a great reminder of so many of the Marriland moments you may remember throughout the years. If you just started getting into my videos not too long ago, hopefully this gives you an idea of how I got to where I am today. Regardless of how long you've been a fan, I think we can all agree on 3 things. 1, we're all looking forward to those future videos. 2, Marriland t-shirts look totally awesome and you should totally get one. Hint, hint, link in the description, hint, hint. And 3, benches. Anyway, thanks for watching everyone. Remember to subscribe to More Marriland at youtube.com/MoreMarriland to keep up with my other videos, if you're interested of course. And if you enjoyed the video, that little like button would be a great way to show your thanks. Or a t-shirt. Or benches. But even just a quick thank you is appreciated. Anyway, I'll see ya on the next video on Marriland's YouTube channel. See ya next time, 1001!